Hello, my name is Melanie Pastay, and I'm the Director of the Office of Information Policy at the Department of Justice. I'm here today to talk to you about your important role in helping your agency implement the Freedom of Information Act. As President Obama has declared, a democracy requires accountability, and accountability requires transparency. Attorney General Holder has explained that the Freedom of Information Act reflects our nation's fundamental commitment to open government. He also stressed that implementation of that law is everyone's responsibility. As an agency leader, your support in this effort is vital. This video will explain what the Freedom of Information Act is, how it works, and your critical role in helping the agency implement this important law. Let's start at the beginning. What is the Freedom of Information Act? The Freedom of Information Act, which is commonly known as the FOIA, is a law that gives any person the right to request access to federal agency records. Agencies in turn must apply a presumption of disclosure and release requested records except to the extent that they are protected from disclosure by law. The FOIA also requires agencies to proactively disclose certain categories of records on their websites, such as statements of policy, as well as records that are frequently requested. Beyond these legal requirements, the Attorney General has encouraged agencies to readily and systematically post information online in advance of any public request. A key way in which your agency can help keep the public informed is through such ongoing proactive disclosures of records. Now, while agencies have FOIA professionals who are responsible for the day-to-day implementation of the Act, these FOIA professionals will need the support of agency leaders like you to assist them throughout the process. The Department of Justice is responsible for encouraging agency compliance with the FOIA, and we too are available to assist your agency in any way we can to make sure you have a successful FOIA program. As we'll talk about later, agencies are required to provide reports to the Department of Justice each year detailing their work in implementing the FOIA. Through these reports, agencies are held accountable for their efforts in implementing the law. So you're now likely asking yourself, who does the FOIA apply to? Any person can make a request for any reason and can seek any agency record, both new and old. Now, this means that the records you or anyone in your agency creates or obtains can all be subject to a FOIA request or to the law's automatic disclosure requirements. The FOIA applies to executive branch agencies, including independent regulatory agencies, and some components within the Executive Office of the President. The law generally requires that an agency respond to a request within 20 working days. Now, once a FOIA request is received, the agency is obligated to conduct a reasonable search for responsive records. That search for records will include paper as well as electronic records such as email. Now, you or your office may be asked to search your records for material that's responsive to a FOIA request, or to make your records available for someone else to search. By promptly assisting your FOIA professionals in conducting these record searches, you will be helping them to promptly respond to the FOIA request itself. Now, once the records responsive to a request are located, your agency's FOIA professionals will review them to determine their disclosability. Your agency FOIA professionals may need your input in this process as well. While agencies should administer the FOIA with a presumption of openness, the disclosure obligation under the law is not absolute. The FOIA does provide protection, for example, for national security, personal privacy, privileged communications, and law enforcement interests. In conducting your review of records, your agency should be guided by the Attorney General's FOIA guidelines, which encourage agencies to make discretionary releases of information and to not withhold information simply because they may do so legally. Agencies should process records with an eye toward disclosure, making discretionary releases of information whenever there is no foreseeable harm in release. When full disclosure of a requested record is not possible, agencies should consider whether they can make a partial disclosure. Now, as I mentioned earlier, responding to requests is only one of your obligations under the FOIA. The FOIA also requires agencies to proactively disclose 4 different categories of records. These records include final agency orders and opinions rendered in the adjudication of administrative cases, certain policy statements, staff manuals, and instructions, and records that have themselves become frequently requested under the FOIA. In accordance with the President's and the Attorney General's FOIA directives, agencies should also proactively post any other information of public interest online on their website whenever possible. This is an area where your active engagement and support is particularly important. When agencies set up procedures to systematically and promptly disclose records of public interest online, they will be actively helping the public become better informed. Such proactive disclosures can also satisfy public demand for information without the need to process individual requests. Agency leaders like you are uniquely situated to identify records of interest to the public and to ensure that they are proactively posted on your agency's website. Now, many agencies are even going beyond traditional website postings to disseminate information by utilizing social media such as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Embracing the presumption of openness, agencies are also taking steps to make information posted online more useful to the public. For example, agencies are increasingly posting records in open formats and implementing advanced search tools that help the public locate records on their websites. All these efforts help further transparency. Given the significant responsibilities agencies have under the FOIA, it is important that they are held accountable for their administration of the law. And it's also important for agencies to be able to publicly report on all the good work they have been doing to implement the FOIA and improve transparency. There are 3 different reports that agencies must compile, each of which serve both of these purposes. The first report is the agency annual FOIA report. This report provides a detailed accounting of the agency's handling of FOIA requests during the preceding fiscal year. To provide more real-time reporting, the Department of Justice now requires agencies to report 4 key FOIA statistics on a quarterly basis throughout the course of the year. One of those key statistics is the status of the agency's 10 oldest pending requests from the year before. The Department of Justice has asked agencies to focus on closing their older requests each year, and this quarterly reporting is a way for agencies to show their progress in doing so as the year progresses. Now lastly, each year agencies issue a Chief FOIA Officer report, which is a narrative description of the steps the agency took throughout the year to improve their FOIA administration and to increase information disclosure. Executive-level support for the FOIA is built into the law by the requirement that each agency designate a senior official at the Assistant Secretary level to serve as the agency's Chief FOIA Officer. Chief FOIA Officers are directly responsible for ensuring that their agency efficiently and appropriately complies with the FOIA. Now, once these reports are all publicly filed, the Department of Justice conducts a thorough review of them and compiles a detailed assessment of agency progress. This public assessment is a way to both highlight agency accomplishments and to note any areas where agencies can focus on improving. Although each agency across the government has a unique mission, we all share a core responsibility to successfully administer the FOIA and to do what we can to foster an open and transparent government. FOIA is everyone's responsibility, and your leadership in supporting this mission is critical. Through this briefing today, I hope you have a better understanding of what the FOIA is and how it works. As you can see, agency leaders have a key role in assisting in responding to requests and in providing support to their agency FOIA professionals. Agency leaders also are instrumental in identifying records of interest to the public that can be disclosed proactively. The Department of Justice is available to assist your agency in its administration of the FOIA. We issue policy guidance, provide extensive training, and we counsel agencies as they work to implement the law and the President's and Attorney General's FOIA directives. You are welcome to contact us if we can be of more assistance to you in any way. I want to thank you for your time today and for the continued support of your agency's FOIA operations. Thank you. Looking ahead, the Department's fully committed to achieving the new era of open government that the President and Attorney General envision. We've accomplished a great deal these past 4 years, but OIP will continue to work diligently to help agencies achieve even greater transparency in the years ahead.